All right, so this is my first attempt at making a video, but I'm gonna get right into it. So 2009 C4S, getting ready to do spark plugs and ignition coils. So first thing obviously is disconnect the battery. So I'll do that. I'm actually gonna take the rear bumper off as well. I've done that a few times already, so it's pretty straightforward, but yeah. So to get the rear bumper off, there's two little bolts here, 2 bolts here, and then you'll see these 4 across the top. Then there's 6 bolts underneath that you can pull off, and then on each side, inside the inner fender here, there's a bolt right up in here. So you take those off, and the rear bumper will come right off. I will say when you loosen these 2 bolts, you can pull this light out, and there's a harness, so you can unplug that and then drop the rear bumper. The whole process should probably take you, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes at the most. It's pretty easy to do. When you go to put it back on, you're going to want to have somebody help you so you don't scratch everything up. I put this one on myself, and I think I got a couple little scratches, nothing major, but just be prepared if you need to go somewhere or do something and you have to throw this bumper back on in a hurry, and you don't have anyone, it might be a little bit of a pain in the butt. So plan on having someone around to just help you put it back on if you're trying to get out of there. So some people might have trouble getting these little clips off the lights. You can see there's a little lever right here, and when you push on it, that lever in there moves. So when you try to take it off, you have to put the screwdriver in here and give it a pretty aggressive little turn, and then you'll hear it click, and then you can pull it off. Makes it a little bit easier. Right. So now we got the bumper removed. There is one little, as I just stepped on it there, there's one little plastic tab which goes right here. So when you take that tail light out, just don't forget to pop that out as well. Pretty easy. So now we can see we've got most of the rear end exposed here, and it's just gonna make things a little bit easier. So when you take everything off, there will be one little connection here for the rear sensors, and same kind of thing where if you look at the connection right here, so again, just stick a little screwdriver in there, tweak it, and you'll get that connection off pretty easily. So next step is we're gonna jack it up, get this off, take this off here, and then get this brace off here. It looks more daunting than it is. It's not too bad. I say that, but I've never done it before. Now we got these the braces and heat shields off. So I'll just go over real quickly how to get those off. Once the tires come off, then there's going to be a bolt right here. It's a 10 millimeter, and then it should be a 225. Here's one here, and here's one here. Star, I guess, I don't know what they're called. Then there's going to be a 10 millimeter bolt, 10 millimeter bolt, 10 millimeter nut, and then another, I guess, star, 25 size star attachment. I don't know what you want to call it, but then it comes off pretty easily. It literally just pulls right off. So here's I keep everything bagged just to make life real easy. So you can see we've got 3 nuts here, 2 bolts, and then 3 Torx bits. That's what they're called, Torx bits. So again, 3 nuts is, you're gonna have a nut here, a nut there, and you're gonna have a star or a Torx bit here. 1, 2, and 3 Torx bits, then 2 bolts, and then there's the 3rd nut. So now we have everything off the back. The next thing I'm going to remove is this guy right here. Hey, you should come over and see this real quick, man. What? I got the back bumper off, the side skirt off, the tires off, and heat shields are all off. Man, this thing's badass. Okay, so to pull that back silver bumper off, it's super easy. Two 16mm bolts. These are them right here. And for whatever reason, one of mine is like crazy rusted. So I don't know. I guess it's always good to check all this stuff out anyway and see how that looks. I mean, I don't see any other water damage. Everything else looks dirty but normal, I guess. So yeah, they're in there pretty tight. So one here, one right there on this little T-bracket. You pull the bolts out and the whole thing comes off. I'll show it to you real quick here. I'm gonna actually wash mine, but the heat shield and the whole rear bumper all come off in one piece. So pretty easy. Full disclosure, at this point, I don't really know what's next. I'm assuming I gotta remove those mufflers. So I'm gonna go back to Renlist, check out the DIY again, and see what I can do to pull those mufflers off. All right, so what I'm doing now is taking off the mufflers, and I'm trying to just do it one way where you see these two bolts here, 1 and 2, and we'll take those off, and I've heard from the forums that that's a pretty easy way to do it, so I've already loosened them up. I'll try to pull them off and see what happens, but pretty easy to see everything. I'm sorry I didn't really show you how to do it, but it's pretty easy. Basically there's going to be 2 bolts, one here and one here. There's going to be 2 bolts from that bracket, one here, and then there's going to be two nuts really from this right here. And I had one of them break off, so no big deal. I guess I'll go get some stainless steel ones from somewhere. Probably needed to be replaced anyway, so not a terrible thing to have happen. The only other issue I have now is I have a cable that came off, and I have no idea where it goes. So here it is right here. This end connected to this right here, which I think is the Porsche Sports exhaust valve lever, and I think it's vacuum operated. Now, this I think was installed on my car after it was purchased, because I don't have the PSE button. So the problem I have now is that this end came disconnected from somewhere in there, and I don't know where. So I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, other than that, it came off pretty easily. So again, I'll show you over here. I have not taken this side off. So there's two bolts here, and then that'll loosen that collar. 2 bolts right there, 1 and 2. And then as we go over to this side, 2 bolts right there, 1 and 2. So that'll come off, and then the next thing that's going to be is there's going to be a shield, this shield right here. And so that shield is held on there by 2, again, I don't know what they're called, but I'll show you what they look like here. These 2 guys right here. So I have this little star bit that works, and that removal of that just exposed everything. So I didn't remove anything else. What I did is I just kind of finagled this out from back here. So actually I went back like this, and then I was able to work it out from basically behind all this stuff. So anyway, yeah, not too bad. So next up is removal of the ignition coils. All right, so what I did is I just put a whole bunch of extensions together. I started off not with this smaller one because I've had one shear before, but there you can see all the way in there. It's wide open now. There you can see that one still got the spark plug in. So yeah, they weren't in there too tight, too crazy. But here's the old one. Not too crazy, but it is pretty dirty. And then here's the new one. And I'm being pretty careful not to touch the back connector and the just basically just trying to hold it by the nut right there. don't want to get any grease or oil or anything on anything, so I kept the protective cover on it. I just took it off so I could show you on the video here. All right, so they're all put back in. Pretty easy to do. The old ones, all three are out. The only thing I had to double check was on my torque wrench. I used a couple different torque wrenches just because I'm neurotic, and I wanted to ensure that I had the right torque values, which I double, triple, quadruple checked online, and the torque values for the spark plugs should be 22 foot-pounds, which to me didn't seem like very much because I was getting clicks pretty early on. And then you put the ignition coils in, and then those little torque bit screws right there, the torque value for those is 7.5 pounds. So yeah, I did 22 and 8, so they clicked, and now we're getting ready to put everything back together.